Hello everybody, I'm Rick, and this is a tutorial of the rhythm guitars of The Creeping Death by Metallica. So I'm going to start with the intro riff. You have to palm mute the top string E here. That's where you rest your hand, where the string connects to the bridge. Hopefully you're already familiar with that technique. So the first riff is going to be 5 palm muted E's, followed by one of 2 power chords that are used in the riff. They're both starting on the A string, and the first one starts with the 7th fret, so you get 799, 577. So I'll just play it real quick to show you how it sounds. I'll play it again with a basic drum beat I have in Ableton. The second variation of the riff is the same thing, except that the power chords, you hit them an extra time. After you've played those a few times, there's 3 power chords that hit, and one of them is not really a power chord. And keep this in mind, as it's going to be used at the very ending slower as well. The next part is just 3 what appear to be power chords, and I used to always think it was just A, G, and F sharp. It's not. It's close. It's going to be... And I use my 1st and 4th finger here for good reason. Because, well, you don't have to, but it might make it easier for you to go to the... It might make it easier for you to hit the F sharp minor chord here. So again, just to play that part of the intro. So that first riff, when you get to the second section of it, and throughout the entire song, there's 2 rhythm guitars doing everything the same together. So a right channel and a left channel. But then when you get to this section here, you have 2 single guitars, 3rd and 4th guitar track, just to do these harmonies. I don't think they have them panned left and right. I don't remember, but here's what you want to do separately if you're trying to track record this, or just you have a second guitarist and you guys want to do each part. So it's the 10th fret and 9th fret on the A string. And the harmony, that is a harmony itself, the minor second of the 2 power chords in relation to those chords. When I was like 18, I used to play them. I used to, just knowing it was wrong, I used to play these 2 together. Because I was there by myself and I just wanted to do something different. But anyway, so I've showed you the first harmony. The second one is the fifth notes. Anyways, here they are, the D string, and that'd be the 9th and 7th fret. And next you get to the 3 power chords that take off the main riff. And next we get to the main riff, which is a whole other ballpark. So the main verse riff of Creeping Death, I always thought it was played a certain way. I used to take a CD player, and when I get to the note I was trying to figure out next from Metallica or whoever else, I would push pause right at the split second after the note so then I could hear it reverberate in my brain. And this main riff, I had a good guess on what it was. What I used to do was actually, in a way, harder than the original, and there's other guys I've seen try to give tutorials of this riff, and they're definitely... I haven't seen one that's correct, and I was never correct either. There's a YouTube channel called Isolated Tracks, I believe. They have the Metallica Creeping Death song with guitars only. I slowed it down to 25% speed, and I was able to pick out that Metallica didn't even play the riff the same every time, because the way they did it, it was pretty difficult to do. I mean, they got better technically at being faster and tighter, like within an album and then an album after that. But Ride You Lightning, this particular riff in Creeping Death, they seem like they're making minor differences, mistakes, but like you can't tell when the album's played out. And also, because of that, you can't tell what the hell they're doing. So I've figured it out finally. The D string and the A string, the 2nd fret. everyone who does these tutorials, they leave out this certain chord that's hit every time throughout the song. And so I'm going to do it slow. That last chord is played every time. So no matter what you've seen someone try to teach this riff, at least from what I've seen of the videos available out there, none of them play that chord that last time. So here's the next part. It's that simple. It's just a third fret on the A string, a third fret pull off to fret 2, and then pull off again, 3, 2, 0. So sounds a little different, slow. It's played slowly, but and I believe, from what I could hear from this 25% speed of the riff that I heard earlier today, first time ever, they downpick the whole thing. Obviously, I'm sure you've heard this over the years, but they downpick each of the pull-offs, the third fret each time. So it's like, here's the riff again. That is what makes it so hard for them to play, because there's a couple instances where if you listen closely, they're going, they pull off the A string second to the open, and the D rings out once in a while. So whatever. I mean, I'm not trying to say they couldn't play their own riff, but I actually am saying that because they wrote it, rather difficultly. I'm going to try it with a wrong drum beat because I didn't program it yet, but I'll just show you what I'm talking about. So the hardest part of the song for some people is just to be able to downpick the entire way. If you don't want to downpick the entire song, like every time there's an E palm muted or whatever, then just don't. But it's going to be hard to do the main riff without downpicking. Yeah, but anyway, you can always take breaks though when the main riff isn't being played, if your wrist isn't keeping up. So here's the next riff. It's one of the easiest riffs in the song. It's just the open E palm muted, third fret power chord on the E, which is G, and then the second fret is used, and it's just like this. So it's easy to mess up and play. It's in 0 2 2 2, but it is 0 0 2 2. So here it is again. So now we're basically coming to the chorus. So after you've played that last riff however many times, figure that out on your own, obviously. But when you get to hit those last 4 or whatever F sharp notes, it goes right into the chorus. There's no joining parts. There's no cool lick you have to learn, or it just does the open E low power chord, and then some palm muting, and then you're going to do a combination of D power chord on the A string. Everything else that's not open E is going to be a power chord on the A string, and I'll just show them right now. It's important to note that the first time they do this chord progression, it starts on the open E power chord. And then a second time, it goes to the A string 7th fret power chord. So you do the open E, and then the whole riff is starting over, but on this note. To end this chorus, it does these 3 power chords. A string, 2nd fret, and you can, the other notes of the power chord, and then 4th fret, and then E string 2nd fret. So it's like a B, C sharp, F sharp, which they did earlier as well, just before the verse riff started. I think I left that out, so... Now, they play a variation of the main verse riff throughout the guitar solo. It's a pretty simple variation. It's not easy to play, because the main riff isn't easy to play, but it's easy to remember, to learn once you know the first one. So it's basically, I'll just do it in slow-mo here. Then you get to the A string power chord, A and C. And after the solo's been going on for a while, I don't have to tell you when. You can easily tell that the rhythm changes, and it basically just goes back to the... Then they play the chorus riff, which the solo Kirk keeps playing over. And then finally, it sort of counts as part of the solo. So when the solo's done, I believe it's Kirk who plays this, and I think he just takes the pick and scrapes the 12th fret on the E and A string, and you get this. And then he just stops. James, I assume, is taking care of the rhythm guitar. So there's no... Kirk just does it live, and he jumps into this next riff, and nothing's perfect live. But on the album, I believe it's just... And then we move to the next riff. So it's basically like I don't know if it's an interlude or a bridge or whatever. I think it's a bridge, I guess. And I just call it the die part. It's the part where James yells die, or whoever else. I don't know if it was just him yelling all those, but he sings over a die chant. Anyway, it's a pretty easy riff compared to the rest of the song, and I'll just play it slow for a second. The power chords are on the A string and your palm mute in the E string. So the power chords there are the 7th fret, 8th fret, and 5th fret, and then the 10th fret comes into play. Next, they're going to play the verse riff again, just for a couple bars, and they're going to stop with the open E power chord, and then they're going to palm mute 0, 2, 3, and then D, 5th note on the A string. So... So just to kind of play through the riff again and show you where it lands. And then we just jump back into that final verse and play the riff as normal. And the chorus one more time. That brings us to the outro, which I basically played everything except for the very ending. I did a short a couple days ago of the outro only. The only reason I didn't play the very ending is because it would have put the short over a minute, and the new short record of limit of 3 minutes. I haven't seen one short that I've done over a minute perform well yet, so could be a coincidence, but I keep them under a minute until I see something change with those new 3-minute shorts. Anyways, the outro riff, the main riff, is this. So again. To slow it down here for a second, it's a different rhythm than the rest of the other riffs in the song. So we're going to look at the right hand. Maybe I can get that into shot. I don't really doubt it. So that 1-2 open power chord is what matters. So So this next riff turns the last riff into sort of a mini theme here, but it's a progression and sort of a climactic part of the song. Simple though. 4 power chords and 1 open palm muted A. So the power chords are on the A string. They're the 7th fret, 5th fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret. I'll do it in slow motion again, or whatever you want to call this. That's the first half. Second half is... And then... So... Here, I'll demo this with the drum beat I already have programmed. At this point, they just go to the intro riff from the very beginning of the song. I'll demo that. Finally, they're going to come in and they're going to do those 3 power chords I told you to remember for the end, which is just the, on the top E string, 5, 3, and 2, but the 2nd fret power chord, the F sharp, is more like of a minor or something. Here it goes. So it's just, but they do it slowly. And if it's not obvious enough to you, the ending after those 3 chords is simply just shredding the crap out of the top E string. So before I wrap this up, I'm going to show you one last thing. I didn't do the solo. I don't have any interest in doing it at the moment. Maybe if enough people ask me to do so, then fine. But there's a cool little riff at the end while the E power chord is shredding away. And it's pretty simple. Here it is. It starts on the E note, but that's on the A string, 7th fret. And they basically play through the minor scale. I forget the name of the scale, but it's the one that has the major 7th in it. I'll just show you the frets. It's on the A string, D string, and G string. Just follow along, I guess. And if you want to be particular about it, I assume Kirk, but possibly James, when they play the last note, they ring it out and position their guitar, I assume, near the amp to get that feedback note that rings out the song. So my Canon DSLR camera has a certain limitation with recording video. It just automatically stops recording. So some of the last half of that video, it was all guitar shots, Anyway, hope you liked this tutorial. If you did, or even if you didn't, just click like and subscribe for the hell of it, even if you didn't like it. No, but really though, just do whatever you want. And if anyone wants any videos of any other metal songs or non-metal, whatever, or even some keyboard demos or tutorials, that's fine as well. Just let me know in the comments and we'll see where we're at in a week or so.